What's up, everybody? Duck here. Good morning. How you guys doing? So let me just adjust these volume levels a bit here. All right. So still kind of low time frame view here as we've been approaching and entering our zone here. So it appears we basically have two scenarios, and this often happens. Okay, remember we do this a lot with the bat and the Gartley, where we have a bat that does something like this, okay, where it has a 50% B, right, and then a 886 on the D. Then we take that pattern and we change it just slightly, and the B becomes a 618 and the D becomes a 786. And this is a bat, this is a Gartley on the right. You see how very, very similar they are? Very similar, okay? So what we're looking at down here now is we basically had this 50% retrace, okay? And then we almost had the 1414 up here, right? 1414, but it was more of a 135, right? 135. And then we have a 786. Okay? So this pattern here is a cipher, okay? If that's a cipher, this is a shark. The beginning of one, okay? So did you see the change there? Very subtle, right? Let me overlap you. Okay, so you see, I'll change the color of one of them. And I'll get rid of, or I'll make the background a little different here, a little lighter. No background, okay. So look, we got these 2 points. This blue point, and we got this purple point. Both of them have a D. This is the area overlapping between a shark and a cipher, similar as this area here would have overlapped between a bat and a Gartley. Okay? See what we're going with here? These are very, very similar patterns. Okay, so what happened is we first have the cipher painted, right? Because it's the one that we get to first. We get to the 786 before the 886, right? So we had the cipher painted right here at the 786, okay? Then if we go down to the, oops, I'll leave that there. And then we'll take this, see we're looking 786, right? Let's take it down to the 886 now. Here's the 886, okay? There's your other target. You see what I mean? Look what happened to us. We were just a little, we started at the cipher. That's what we were after, right? We got the cipher, and it also completed what would have been the shark, okay? So what am I talking about? Let's see if I can get this into the screen for you. Okay, so this first one here being the cipher, okay? So we were looking at this 786, right? The D, 786, okay? And the shark, if you look right here, the 886 is the first point where, you know, it could start as a shark as well. Yes, the shark can continue down to the 113, but this is definitely some area of interest, to say the least, okay? So let's clean it up. Okay. Do, 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 do. Uh, Whoops, my bad. Um, so basically, it just paints like this zone, okay? Just an area of interest that we definitely want to see a bounce, right? So if we come in on it, um, the first green line 786, second green line is the 886, okay? So that was kind of what basically where you fell. Um, okay, so all right. If we go out to the weekly now. All right, let's see here. Zoom out to the weekly. Pretty. It's going to be pretty hard for this not to be basically okay. Look, we're looking at this previous level of negative momentum. This is what we're identifying here. Okay, this pretty weak amount of negative momentum, but it's still it's just the previous area, right? Previous area that we're regarding. So from there to where we are is what we're interested in at the moment, okay? So if we mark that level like this, okay, then we take this to the chart, okay, and we're going to identify that same point looking up would have been this low here, right? It lines up with this previous level of that negative momentum, okay? And then obviously where we are lines up with, the current level being painted, okay? So we're going to take this, and for this to get invalidated, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, it would have to come below 10K, right? So it's not completely confirmed yet on the weekly, but this is starting to be at least, a sign that, often comes on these back end dips like this is this hidden bullish divergence, okay? Where you have this initial low with a much higher low on price, but you have much lower levels of negative momentum, and same thing on the RSI, right? So, what needs to happen here, is this has to get back above this 50% area, okay? You have to reclaim this area for start, okay? And then you can see what happens from there. If you fail at this area, right? If you just barely putter up and you fail again, that's definitely not what you want to see. So you definitely need to get back above this neutral zone on the RSI, this 50 area, and then just start developing something, okay? Above the neutral zone, okay? All right. So this also aligns with this previous area of this Gartley bat-esque type structure that sent this to begin with on the daily. You are basically back at the entry of that Gartley. Okay, so definitely was once support, is now support again. Like we said, if we see this below on the RSI, it would be below on price as well. You do not want to see that below, okay? We were looking for 32.5. Yes, did it go below? It went to like 31.5 or something, sure. But I mean, we got 32.5 on Bitcoin. We got hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. We, I mean, it's not it's not fully we want to see this start to wane. Basically what I mean by that is see these negative momentum islands when the red starts to turn white, right? When that red starts to turn white, it's like the momentum's waning back to the positive side, okay? So we need to see this turn, okay? Um, but yeah, it's kind of an interesting one because hidden bullish divergence is kind of one of the good ones because it's really hard to identify. Um, it's really hard to identify, and I don't know, really hard to identify, and most won't identify it, so it makes for good traps, right? Good trap areas. So we'll have to just see. Um, yeah. So 32.5 hit. Yeah, price is now holding above that level. We're at 33. So, okay, let's see if we kind of go in on the 4 hour, or excuse me, if we go in onto the daily. Let's look at the RSI. So on the RSI, this is for the weekly. On the RSI here, we finally have that bullish divergence as well on the RSI. We do not yet have it on the MACD, but basically you have weekly hidden bullish divergence on the MACD and the RSI. You then have daily bullish divergence on the RSI. So, yeah, definitely, not. You'd love to see this MACD participating a little better. Are you getting a little something here? Sure. Little something, but you'd like to see this on a whole separate island, right? Not just on the tip of this current one. See how this was completely separate islands here? This was much better. Let's see. This was much better form of bullish divergence. That's for the weekly. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, kind of definitely a scary area, right? For one to want to get in here, but you still have it's a good area for to get your risk to reward back into your favor a little bit here, okay? So you have this previous level, right? Even if we take this back to the X over here, it kind of lines up with the one we're already dealing with, okay? So if this became your stop area, 27 basically, right? If your stop area was 27 and you were targeting 55, okay? So stop area 27, let me get this off the daily. Stop area being 27, target being 55. You're in at 32.5 was the trigger. Stop 22.7, target 35, 4-1, okay? So this is all we're trying to do is regain an edge into our favor, right? Where the risk reward is, on your side, right? Risk to reward on your side. So this is an area where, we figured we'd get this double bottom. We put in a slightly higher low. So again, I mean, you have a plan, you execute the plan. If the plan fails, well, we would lose 1R here, right? 1R would be, like 17%. 15%, right? So, yeah, would that suck? Sure. But on the upside, you can get 70%, right? So that's what you're doing here every day. You have to risk to gain, okay? So if you get stopped out on a 7, you have here's the thing, guys. I feel like a lot of you guys bend the rules here when it comes to the position sizing, because if you're not consistent, one inconsistent over position stop out is can be detrimental. But if you're consistent, all you did was lose 1 R, okay? You're just trying to gain 3 Rs or more and only risk 1. That means you only have to be right 33% of the time to be profitable if you maintain the rules. If you're not following the rules, then you're cheating the system, right? You're supposed to have a plan. The plan is there's rules involved, right? Position sizing is consistent. Risk to reward 3 to 1, at least 2 to 1, 3 to 1. This is 4 to 1. So you have to stay consistent. Over leveraging is cheating again, right? You can't over position, you can't over leverage. So try. I don't know what to tell you. If you're having trouble with leverage, the best thing I say in that situation is just try trading it spot, just for like 1 or 2 months, okay? The same positions, trade them spot, see what happens, okay? Maybe that's your issue. You for some reason just keep throttling that leverage too high, or I'm not sure, right? It's like nobody sees every single one of your trades there, so it's hard to know, right? But that's up to you. Everyone's risk tolerance level's different, so everyone is gonna do that different. But you just need to stay consistent, and it has to be based on your overall total portfolio, right? You have to be able to you just have to be able to handle the downside that you're putting at risk, right? You have to have accepted that, whatever it is, whatever you decided, and it just that's part of how this works, right? So, all right, look, 32.5. This was our plan, targeting 55 still. Uh, All-time high. Basically, a couple things here. Okay, so one, if we fib it, okay, from current high to low, we have the deep rate trace 786 and 886 happening between 57 and 60, okay? But we also have this square up here at 56.7, okay? So there's a lot of stuff just above 55 that can hit, all right? Also, I don't really use this, but it's good to just kind of be aware of where it is, okay? This is just simply a volume profile indicator. And it basically is hanging out right there at that 55 level as well, okay? Just right at 55. That's that first line we have painted. It's just right between the 618 and the 786, and it's hanging out right at the square up, okay? So that's kind of the, in my opinion here, next major area of interest is that, POC 4 to 1 area 55, right? So it would give you your golden retrace. You'd hit the full 618 and you'd be just shy of the 786 and the square up, which means you could still go through this target, but you would get the target, right? If you went slightly through it, you hit it, right? That's the point. We're trying to make We don't need a full home run right to the very bitter end of this. We need a probable target. What is likely to hit? More likely to hit. Well, we're front running both the 786 and the square up. Okay. Where's the square up? The square up is the top line right here. Okay. So that square up is basically 56.6, and we're looking for 55. Okay, so just slightly front running that. Okay, see what I mean? So I don't know. That's what I'm doing currently. We'll have to see what happens here, but you would figure that if you were to get up here, you're gonna see some sort of rejection there. Okay, I mean, that's a long ways from where you are, right? You have a long ways to go. By the time you get up here, you figure you'd find some exhaustion, right? But before any of that, I mean, we need bids here, right? We need bidders to step in. Ideally, they hang out and don't step in till tomorrow, so I can fill on the. I need to fill on some GBTC on the traditional asset side. Get going back to some pretty heavy exposure. GBTC on Friday was down almost 9%. We could take a quick peek at it. Okay, so GBTC, this is what this is, guys. It's called Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC. Okay, just throw a G in front of Bitcoin. And this is just how boomers get exposure on their portfolios to on the traditional side of things to Bitcoin. So ideally, what's gonna happen here? We'll have to see, but I'm thinking we open with some kind of just gap down. Not even that far, right? Small gap down right into this 786 area. Boom. $26. Comes right back up, fills the gap overhead, and then continues back on up on its merry way, okay? There's a gap right here at $50. That's around the 55K area that our target would be on BTC USDT, okay? So going to fill tomorrow at the open, be up and ready for the open, and we are going to layer in on the spot exposure on the boomer market. Okay, that's so it's good to be exposed across several markets so you can identify entries across multiple assets here. Okay, what else did we see here? We have a 50% retracement area on the weekly. Okay, we hit the 50. This is the 618 that we were talking about, not talking about, but that's that $26 area that I'm saying you gap down, you hit it, and you come right back up, okay? And you fill this gap right above you, okay? That's what I'm looking for the open. And that would be also, if you look, a low on price, a lower low on price, a higher low on price, swing failure pattern at the 5618 golden retrace area, okay? Golden retrace zone, swing failure. We would also be painting and are painting the same Class B hidden bullish divergence on GBTC as on Bitcoin USDT, okay? So it's just definitely something that, okay, put it this way. Time and time again have I seen, basically put it this way, time and time again have I disrespected this hidden divergence and thought it was going to go down, and that hidden divergence just, you know, I've seen this develop before. What I'm trying to say, okay? This is a nasty little trappy zone. It's like this previous B area, right? Just a trappy little zone, all right? Okay, so keep an eye out. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Here's your low time frame. Low time frame. Momentum is diverging bullishly, right? You're losing it. RSI, higher levels. Okay, let me get rid of that. We're holding. So far, so good. So far, holding the zone. Okay. Let's get rid of this on the low time frame. Bring it in. Okay, so yeah, we need to hold. We need to hold. Ideally, sideways, even double bottom right here. Again, right? You see how this is also like a larger double bottom on like the 4 hour? We could pull to the 4 hour again, but we have this initial low, and now we're painting this slightly higher low in this zone, right? So what I'm saying is now you double bottom again in here, and it could be a slightly higher, but you know, ideally you rally up, form some kind of neckline either here or here, right? Maybe you rally up here, then you hit this double bottom, then you come back to this neckline again. Here's where you get the break, and then you go up to this next area of congestion. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to lose 27 at this point. That would just be, I mean, pretty bad. Worst case on this, if this is a shark in its worst, nastiest form, okay? 113. Right here. 28.5. Which means if you get that, you're going to go up 50%, and you're going to morph into a 5.0, and you're going to sell off, okay? So what's better is this shark, okay? The one that stays at the, the one that stays at the 886 is better because, gosh, I can't grab what I'm trying to grab. The one that stays at the 886 is more bullish and can act as a bullish reversal in itself, okay? When it goes to the 886, when it goes to the 113 down here, this is the one that morphs into the 5.0, okay? And in this case, it would be a bearish 5.0. So this 5.0 would do this, okay? So we don't want the more bearish of the sharks, right? There's two different sharks. It's kind of a weird type of harmonic, okay? It's hard to read it, all right? And what would I mean by that 50, that 5.0? 50% retrace, it would be right here. Boom. Boom. Okay, so you do not want to see 28.5. If you see 28.5, guys, if you see 28.5 hit, okay, that means you're going to reject 35. That's what that means, okay? If you sell off to 28.5, you're going to reject 35, and you're going to dump again, okay? But if you can hold here, it's possible that the shark acts as a simply or harmonic reversal, and this gets you all the way to 55 by itself. Okay, so shark goes both ways. Okay, let's take a look at Ethereum. Okay, whoops, we have some initial resistance here. Looks like low time frame area coming up, but it's okay. This could be like we said, even on the low time frame here, it'd still be nice to confirm again. Okay, low on price, slightly higher low on price. This second time you have to flip it, right? You'd have to flip it, and that's where you can go again. But the first time, it would make sense that it is regarded as resistance initially. Okay, that would be 2500. Makes sense. Okay, at some point, ideally, hopefully, this paints some kind of structure here as well, right? Maybe that's where you break out and back test this downsloping trend line. You put in these lows, right? You get the 2 feet of the dragon. You get the you know, these two areas of resistance that need to be flipped, right? These areas of congestion become resistance, must be flipped into support. Okay, so this is how we make our way on ETH. Let's see here. Man, you're at least developing in oversold territory now. Slightly lower level. Man, the MACD on all the 4 hours is the only thing not cooperating. Weekly, not there yet at all. Gosh, see, this MACD has just not been cooperating. That's showing convergence, whereas the RSI was showing the divergence, right? So we're getting confliction. Daily, again, your daily was showing convergence. Convergence, right? Very conflicting. Which is interesting in a way that what also that means is that you technically haven't developed your bearish divergence on that high time frame. That being said, you need to run back up there to do it. Is it possible we run back up there and do it? Yeah, I mean, it's just right here, right? Actually, this is the previous highs, isn't it? 44. So what that's saying is that we end up back in this area again, and somewhere here is where we develop the divergence on the weekly, where we put in maybe even a slightly higher high on price, right? And this is where you get the high time frame bearish divergence. Okay, so that could be very interesting, very interesting. Yeah, of course, we need Bitcoin to, at that point, would be breaking 55, right? But 55, we got to start there. So yeah, a lot of work to do, one level at a time, right? One level at a time, one level at a time. We don't want to reject these areas, right? Reject. So these are definitely current regarded, what was once support, right, is now resistance. So, okay, Litecoin. Let's start on the daily. Whoops. Man, this one is looking trash. Really have nothing developed on Litecoin yet. On the daily or the weekly. Or the 12-hour. Litecoin is definitely lagging. No edge on Litecoin at the moment. Let's go back to Bitcoin and kind of let's do that same thing. Okay, so Bitcoin, you see how Litecoin is barely starting to pop its head out of the negative momentum, whereas Bitcoin's got quite a bit of it, like more than we've seen ever on the weekly. Okay, so at least on this chart, not on overall, of course, right? Let's we could see that though. Let's check it on Coinbase. That's pretty bad. Okay, pretty bad. That's a lot of negative momentum though as well, right? Let's check it on Bitstamp. Yeah, I mean the highest levels of negative momentum basically ever on Bitcoin. So your 2017 levels, 2018 bear market, right? Nasty tip of the bear market, okay, was here, okay? Let's go to where we are. You are here, okay? So being that we're, extremely low here, we could definitely say that this is developed. You know what I mean? It's not confirmed, but it's developed, okay? Yeah, I mean, crazy, okay? So, we come again from this point down to where we are. That is the weekly hidden bullish divergence occurring. Gosh, devastating. Yeah. Now we just need to hold here, guys. We basically have our entry. We have our... Okay, so we have our entry. Let me get rid of this arrow. We're at the bottom of the range, okay, putting in a slightly higher low here. Be nice to even paint another one like we said here. We need to get back above this range midpoint here at 36, excuse me. Top of the range is 42. So we need to flip these levels. Resistance at 50K, psychological round number, 50K. Ultimately, top of the range, top of the larger range, and D of the harmonic is that 55, okay? That's also that POC that we identified, okay? So if we put that POC back in play, you'll see it's already there. It's right there. So that D that red line, right? You see that? Whoops, there you go. You see the volume profile indicator is indicating the same area of a harmonic D for a bat. Top of the, range bottom, range high. Yeah. That, in my opinion, is where we are headed. If we can get it, if we get it with 4-1, 2,700 or 27K is the stop. Okay, and that's it. Orders are filled. Stay sideways till tomorrow. Fill on the traditionals, and then do your thing. This could take time to play out, guys. It's a swing trade. Okay, it could go sideways here at the bottom at 33 area, right, for a while, just to be like, I don't know, just boring, right? Purposely making people question filling, right? So yeah, target remains 55. Try trading spot if your leverage is killing you. Like we just talked about this a couple days ago, like where there is a chance that Bitcoin could still hit 32.5 because it wasn't developed on the weekly or the daily, when now you finally are getting your divergences there, okay? So we even said don't get chopped up before the party starts. Well, the party's like just kicking off, right? Like the punch just got served, okay? We just hit the zone. So we don't want to lose 27,000. Just you're filling right here in this 32.5 area. You're targeting 55. Okay? And that's it. I don't know that we're going to be able to shake these, a lot of these, like, Sailor, right? MicroStrategies, Elon, all these guys, if they're still holding, yeah, they might be down here, maybe not, maybe they are. Seems like Sailor is, I think, from where his dollar cost average happened. I don't think they could just sell and buy the same way we can on at any given moment's notice. I believe it's much more of a procedure for them, okay? So they get, they end up having to hold positions regardless of what's happening at, at times, okay? Which could end up being, detrimental for them. That being said, because of that, it also sometimes may not, where they would have flushed and sold if they could have, due to that, it makes them hold, and maybe they end up getting a recovery bounce here up to the 55K area and end up back in the green and get a sell in profit after all, right? So let's just see how this plays out. Again, don't want to lose 27,000. We're filling here at 32.5, target 55, okay? That's the plan. If Bitcoin goes up, alts go up. If Bitcoin goes down, alts go down worse, right? It's always going to be that way. Very rare that these alts will hold their own if Bitcoin is dumping. Also, guys, you have to remember, crypto is very momentum driven, okay? So the momentum has to be, has to be present for these assets to rally, okay? So, but when the momentum happens and it starts to rally, it starts to definitely compound and compile, right? This momentum builds and builds and builds. And that's how come we get these, some of these blow-offs way beyond certain targets sometimes, where we would have been out of a target on most things, including even here. We don't need to be moon boys. We hit our targets, we take our profit, we get out. On traditionals, we definitely do that, right? So we're applying this traditional TA to crypto. We hit our targets, we get out. Well, sometimes we exceed them on crypto and blow right past them because it's so momentum driven. You have momentum just pushing price up, 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 right? So right now we're just waiting for that momentum to re-enter, which has currently, right, the balloon is deflated, right? So we need to pump it back up and see if we can get a rally. Look, the exchanges themselves wouldn't mind a little rally up here because they get to square up some of these areas, right? Where, there's gaps up here on the CME and whatnot. And it doesn't mean they have to fill, but they oftentimes do and will, okay? So yeah, I mean, it it seems pretty bleak right now. I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, the sell off's bad, right? Like there's a lot of selling. A lot of selling. 50%, right? The flippening or the split, what do you call that shit? I don't know. On I don't do the fundamental side of Bitcoin, but yeah, the halvening, right? The halvening, 50%, half loss in price. But all right, guys. So you need to hold this area. Um, Phil, try again. Like I said, do me a favor. For the next like two months, it's not that devastating. Okay, of time. It's not that long. Try trading this on spot. Like the next couple setups. Try trading spot. See what happens. Report back. Take some notes about how did that go in differ to your leverage trading experiences? How was your overall mood? How was your overall mindset? How was your sleep schedule? How was your quality of life? How were all these things when you traded this position on spot versus how you would have previously traded it on leverage? How did it make you feel? All those things. They're all factors, guys. They're all factors. I keep telling you, this is 60% mental. If you're not touching on those mental side of the trade as a whole, it's just rough. It's hard, okay? So you have to factor that in, please. So attempt that, all right? See if that did anything for you. And maybe that's what you've been missing, okay? I mean, I remember when I factored in a long time ago and I was like, oh shit. So, this isn't the first time I've said it. I just don't know that you guys have ever tried it, okay? But yeah, I mean, you do you, whatever works for you. Because, like I said, everybody's level of risk tolerance is much different. If we all walked to a casino with 10 grand and everyone kind of went, some went straight, some went left, some went right, and we all went to a random table or a random machine or whatever the case may be, went to the sports book, right, bet on the horses, whatever that first bet was out of your 10 grand, everybody's initial wager was different. Okay, that is your what that is, that's your level of risk tolerance, right? How much risk were you able to tolerate per whatever that was? That explains you, right? Some people would have done that very conservatively, and it's very clear that some of you would have went all in on a random horse, right? So let's work on that side of things, but at least identify where you are, and then, try trading spot for a while with all that in mind, and just, but yeah, I mean, you gotta factor it in. You gotta factor it in, okay? So, cool. All right, guys. Well, 32.5 was hit. 55 is the target. It's gonna take a while, okay? This is gonna be a couple of weeks to play out here, okay? So, patient man's game. Don't get chopped up. Don't be over leveraged. Don't be over positioned. All right. Like I said, not only am I filling on the, perps, right? But also going to, go into GBTC exposure in the traditional portfolio, okay? So grabbing some from both sides here, all right? Cool. Well, let's see how this develops. Keep an eye on it, per usual. And yeah, I mean, if you guys see something different, please chime in the Discord and we can evaluate from there. But yeah, I mean, don't know what else to say. We've been waiting for this. We had a plan. We hit our area. We fill. We have targets. We have an invalidation point. We don't want to see price go below there and regard as resistance and start failing even further off. We are looking for 55. That's it. Okay, now we execute the plan. That's it. That's all we can do. Execute the plan until further notice, and then we reevaluate and we make another plan once we have more data, right? So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope that was helpful. Hopefully you comprehended most of that. So, all right. Catch you guys back in the stream. Enjoy your Sunday. All right. Peace out. Duck out.